Hey everyone, today we're going to make a vanilla cherry cake, and this cake has a light cherry flavor. It does not have that sort of artificial flavor to it. So if you're a fan of cherries like I am, you're going to love this cake. I used to eat cherries when I was a kid growing up like candy. So if you're like that, then you're going to love this one. So the first thing is you want to get a 10-ounce jar of maraschino cherries, and you're going to want to take off the stems and drain the juice, but you do want to keep the juice. Set the juice aside and then put the cherries in a processor, or just chop them up on your own if you don't have a processor, but you want to chop them up into small, tiny little pieces. So in a medium-sized mixing bowl, you're going to add 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So take a whisk and you want to whisk that up until it's all mixed together. So in another bowl, you're going to add 2/3 cup of cherry yogurt, and make sure the yogurt is near room temperature. And I got the kind that's already kind of mixed together. It's not the kind that has like the fruit on the bottom or anything like that. So then you're going to add your chopped cherries and 1/3 cup of that cherry juice that you saved from earlier. And then add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and a 1/2 teaspoon of vegetable oil, which I forgot to record here. But anyway, you're going to mix it up with your whisk and set that to the side. So in a large mixing bowl, you're going to add 3/4 cup of unsalted butter, and you want to make sure that that is room temperature. And you're going to mix that up until it is smooth. And of course, you can use like a hand electric mixer. You don't have to use a stand mixer. So now you want to add 1 2/3 cup of granulated sugar to the butter, and you're going to mix this up on medium high, and you want to mix it for several minutes here so that it's light and fluffy. And once you get it light and fluffy, you're going to add in 3 large eggs that are close to room temperature. You're going to add them in one at a time and mix on medium for about 20 seconds after each egg. And it's good to have these eggs at room temperature, because if they're cold, they can sort of clump up that room temperature butter, and you don't really want that to happen. It's not the end of the world if it happens, but if you can prevent it, that's the best way to go about it. So as always, just scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl and mix again. And once you have all the eggs added, you're going to alternately add in the dry ingredients with the liquid ingredients. So you're going to start with the dry and just add about 1/3 of the dry ingredients. Mix only on medium just until it's combined. You don't want to mix it at too high of a speed or too long here. Then add 1/2 of that liquid mixture. Mix it again just until combined. And then you're going to add in another 1/3 of that dry ingredients. Mix that just until combined, and then your last 1/2 of the liquid ingredients, and mix it on medium. And then once you've done that, you're going to add the last 1/3 of the dry mixture and mix again. Just be really careful not to mix too long or at too high of a speed here, because this is a scratch cake. If you mix too much, it's going to make the texture all weird, and the whole cake could fall on you. Okay, so once you get it all mixed up, you're going to add it to a 13 by 9 inch baking dish that you have sprayed with some nonstick spray. And the batter is kind of thick, so you're just going to have to use a spatula or something to spread it out smoothly in the pan. And then you're going to bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 35 minutes. Ovens will vary. So once it's baked, set it on a cooling rack and let it cool completely while you make the frosting. So to make the frosting, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of unsalted butter to a mixing bowl, plus an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. You're going to want to make sure that this is all room temperature as well, or it's just not going to mix up very well. So mix this with an electric mixer until it's good and smooth, and then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix that up as well. And then you're going to add in about 3 to 4 cups of confectioner's sugar. And I just kind of add mine in different parts here, because if you add it all up front and then mix it, it's just going to make a huge mess. So just add a little bit at a time, mix it in between. And then you can always add in a little bit of cherry juice if it starts to get too thick. And I think I ended up using about 2 to 4 teaspoons. Just use however much that you need to get it to the proper consistency. So just keep mixing it all together. And another thing that I did is I added a little bit of pink food coloring, because I noticed that just adding a little bit of that cherry juice kind of gave it sort of a coral color, and that's not really the color that I was going for. So I just added a little bit of pink food coloring. You can do that if you want, you don't have to. And then mix it up until everything is really good and smooth. And you want to add this onto your cooled cake. And by the way, this cake will bake up kind of flat, which is kind of nice because then you get an even layer of cake and frosting throughout the whole thing. But just make sure that your cake is cooled down before you ever add this frosting. So you just want to add it on there, and feel free if you want to add any chopped nuts. I don't really like the thought of that, but sometimes people do. Go ahead and do that if you want. But I really love this cake. I am a cherry fan though, so if you're a cherry fan, then I hope you love this too. If you make this, let me know what you think about it. And as always, I will put a link to the printable recipe in the description below. When you get to that post on that, you can always print out the recipe. You can click on a button that says metric right underneath the ingredients list, and it will convert all of the ingredients to metric if you need that. Happy cake baking, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.